every week I give you these. First, the best and the worst. Moneyline in Major League Baseball. Our weekly check-in with this. The Guardians, who I mentioned before, Joe, how great they've been, plus 18.9 units so far this year. Yankees, the Nationals, 12.4 units. Orioles and Brewers, the best. The worst, Joe, minus 27.8 units for the White Sox. The Marlins, there's your Blue Jays. Boy, if you felt that. Minus 14 units. And Oakland, the best and worst money line in baseball so far this year.
Yeah, gutless for the Blue Jays. There were 3 games under 500 about a week ago. Look, they're now 8 games under 500. I mean, Big Bad Vlad, yeah, he could hit a home run when they're down by 7. But how about you do that in the first couple of innings to give your team a lead? I mean, the guy's completely gutless. But that being aside, I'm still going after the Nationals. 38-40. Let's start chipping away. That team is going to be well under 500. Chip away, Carver. Smash them. Smash them second half of the year. I know you're
only a half game out of the wild card spot. You're only a half game out. You could have got him. I think I told you last week, 18-1 to make the playoffs last week. And they have hung around all year. And that, how do you know I didn't? Maybe I did. Maybe I'm in on the 18-1. It's possible. All right, Joe, I gave you the best, worst money line, and now the best overs and unders so far this season in Major League Baseball. The Giants, 43 games to the over so far this year. Brewers, Tigers, Orioles, Marlins, and Rockies. Underside, Astros, Rangers, Braves, Mariners, Cubs, and Royals, Joe. You know, the Giants is a little surprising, Joe, because they're not a big offensive team. I think it's just because they have so many of those late night games where they're like 7.5s, right? I feel like there's a lot of 7.5s in those Giant games at home, and a lot of those have gotten over the number.
Yeah, and they got shelled against St. Louis, too, over the weekend as well. Sometimes the pitching isn't as great. I think they're going to still be there in the end in regards to a wild card. I think they can win some games and win some series and be a dark horse, you know, as an NL champ. You know, still think they have great value. But looking at the list right now, Carver, you know, the Astros have started to come on in terms of sneaking in some overs here and there, but I still like the Braves. I like the over tonight against St. Louis. I think we can catch some good value, and I think the Braves can maybe start smashing some totals in the second half of the season. So hopefully that'll be the team that I'm sort of keying on throughout the second half, and it starts tonight in St. Louis.
I got to tell you, Joe, I mean, they've been pretty gutless, honestly, when it comes to scoring runs. They
start
just have
slow.
Not been the same.
Every game they start slow.
Start slow. No good, Joe. No good whatsoever. I told you I'd give you the odds to win the American League. You were wondering about Cleveland. Still the fourth, actually the third choice now. They're now plus 750.
Still good number.
With the Mariners. Still good number at plus 750, considering how good they played. Yankees, Orioles, Guardians are actually ahead of the Mariners. Mariners are 8-1. Then Twins, Astros, Royals, Rangers, Red Sox. Everyone else pretty much out of the mix at 50-1 or longer.
Again, Guardians I think have great value, but big picture, the two deep shots, Rangers and Red Sox. I still think the Rangers will get hot, but the way the Red Sox are playing, Carver, again, they get into the wild card and they could score runs. That is the biggest thing. I mean, they might not have a great lineup, but they find ways to get it done, and that's all that you can ask for. So I would back a team in terms of that. 22-1, 30-1 is great numbers for the Rangers and both Sox.
Yeah, I say this to you all the time, Joe. You got it. There's a good chance you can get a long shot into the World Series. They just have to make the right moves at the deadline right now and get very hot in September and October, and it's possible. Now, you had, some would say 2 last year, definitely 1. The Diamondbacks were no doubt a long shot that made it. I mean, Texas wasn't never the favorite last year, and they made the World Series. So you're going to get that again this year, or you're going to get more chalky this year? You know, that's kind of the way, you know, you got to think about it.
I think it all depends. It depends on how it plays out. Again, I still think, you know, the Orioles will be there in terms of the front runners, but I think the Rangers will make a run. Look, we talk about the Astros in recent years because of the pitching, right? If the Astros had that type of value, it would be like a blind no bet because of the pitching. They don't believe that in regards to the Rangers for some reason. Why? And I'm not suggesting that it's the same pitching, but the lineup could still hit, even though it's slightly different.
And as far as the Orioles go, I think they learned some lessons last year when they got smashed by Texas in the first round. I think that they're going to be much better in the playoffs this year. That was the first time for all those kids. They will be much better in October this year. National League, it's 3 teams, Joe. It's Dodgers, it's Phillies, it's Braves, and then there's everybody else. Brewers are 12-1, Diamondbacks 25, Padres 25, Cardinals 35, Cubs 40, Mets 40, Giants 40.
The only one that I again, Braves are the team that I'm backing big picture in regards to the World Series because I know they're a little inconsistent, but I like that type of mentality coming into the playoffs, different than last year. Deep shots, I still think the Cardinals have some life, and the Giants are my long shot at 40-1. Look, you were shocked that the Giants were there about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They could still play out the second half of the season and be this team. They have the pitching.
They do, but they don't. To be quite honest with you, they
don't
really
like
don't.
Webb. You don't like Webb.
I love Webb. He's the only consistent guy they have. I don't think there's a lot of consistency after that. Doesn't seem like they're going to get much of anything out of Snell this year with what's gone on the first 3 months. So they got some work to do, Joe. That's for sure.